championship offseason every time.
You either getting better or getting worse. You never stay the same.
Building up strength, building your body up, getting prepared.
All it is single focus.
Nothing is easy.
Am I going full speed? Am I pushing it? Am I max? Am I redlining?
If you want to be the best in the world, if you want to be elite, you have to be able to go out there and put the work in.
Motivated, got the right attitude.
All right, so we know it's been a long road to get to the success that you've gotten to right now. Could you please tell us a little bit about the journey that you took to get to the current position you're at?
Oh man, I'm gonna first off start off by saying thank you to my family, God, and my friends and my mentors as far as my coaches, because I feel selfish if I say I made it here alone. The road has not always been green. You know, I have muddy water sometimes, but I think that shaped me to who I am today. I started playing football at the age of 7, and I was introduced to the game by my uncle. He was my mentor growing up and my first role model. He played arena football, college at the University of Argonauts, so I would always be around the game. And I like to say that football chose me. I didn't choose football. That was my gift from God. And my gift is to give it back to him by maximizing my ability. So, yeah, I started young at the age of about 7. I will always be around the game from in the neighborhood or whether I'm going to my uncle games. And I just love the excitement from the fans cheering to my family praising me after the game and just making everybody happy, from the fans to my family, you know. Yeah, so the journey has been amazing. I wouldn't take anything back as far as my injuries, which was part of the adversity I had to overcome to be where I'm at today. And it's been a great journey so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as you said, we all know that family and having a support system is very important for growing and development. Can you say exactly how much the support from your family really helped you to reach that goal?
The support from my family helped me reach that goal. It's just been always been a believer and having faith in God first and foremost. I was raised in a Christian household. My mother and my grandma, and my family, so they will always impose that believing in God and having faith is the first thing and first important. And they will always just be there whether I need something for my craft, which is football, buying me footballs, and just being that emotional support that I need whenever I'm away from the game, and just keeping me uplifted and keeping me active in other sports, as well as basketball, which I feel helped me playing DB because, you know, in basketball, you have to be able to defend the ball carrier who's dribbling the ball. And yeah, so just keeping me active and being a great emotional support system has been very important for me, for my family.
Sounds like you have a really strong support system, which is really amazing to hear. So you said you started playing football at an early age. When do you think it is that you fell in love with the game, where it was just like everything for you?
Oh man, like I say, my uncle, he's been playing football since I was born. So I remember seeing the picture that my mom showed me. I was at an Auburn football game, and I was about, I would say I wasn't no older than 2 years old, but I was I was in the stands with the fans, and I'm just looking at the game. But I would say I truly fell in love with the game when I first started playing, and I just loved the excitement and the adrenaline it gave me. And that was at the age of 7.
Wow, that's early age.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but why defensive back, if I could ask? It's one of the most challenging positions there are. Why would you choose defensive back?
I didn't choose defensive back, right? This is a crazy story. I started off at receiver. Okay. I attended 3 different high schools. The first high school was Course Marine Charter back in Fort Lauderdale. The second one was a public school called Ward Anderson. It's not your first pick that you would choose to go to, but it turned out to be pretty good for me later down the line. The coach that I had there, he seen me at receiver, and I couldn't really get the plays down because receivers have to know the whole offensive playbook, so I didn't really understand the playbook fully. So concisely, he chose to put me at defensive back one day in practice, and I was very physical. He was like, "Hey man, I think you can really play this right here." So ever since then, I decided to play defensive back, and I switched to defensive back my 10th grade year in high school. So I've been playing receiver my whole life until 10th grade, and that's how I became a defensive back.
Coach was a very smart man.
Yeah.
All right. So many students have dreams. And while it is easy to have dreams, chasing them can be very difficult. While most people have dreams, they don't want to put the effort needed to achieve those dreams. They don't fully invest themselves into accomplishing their dreams. Can you take us through how you invested your time, energy, and mind to accomplish your dreams?
How I invested my time, energy into my dream, like I said, I think it was imposed in me at a young age, as far as being around the game. So it was just effortless for me. You know, I would always just be around football, whether I'm in the neighborhood playing with the guys or playing Optimus. So by investing myself into the game, I would surround myself around people that's doing the same thing as me and eliminate the people that's not, because I know the more I surround myself with these people, I will continue to get better in my craft. So I would say just having the right support system, continue to stay active, and just keep the people around you that's doing the same thing, if not better than you, you know? So that's how I invested my time and energy into my craft.
I completely agree with that. All right, so the day has come. You've officially been drafted into the NFL, your dream.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through the feelings you experience, you know, walking into training camp for the very first time, entering the locker room, and you're looking to your left and your right, and you're seeing all these super athletes, maybe even players you've seen on TV before you got here?
Yes.
What was that feeling like? And even like the experience of walking out the tunnel, the very first game, what was that feeling like for you?
It's an unexplainable feeling. I can't even remember the first time I walked out of the tunnel because I just blacked out, you know, because it was like a dream come true. Like literally, like you said, growing up and just wanting to be in the NFL, it's just like surreal once you're in the locker room with those guys, as you said, been watching on TV. Man, I can't explain it. Until this day, I'm just happy and blessed that I was able to accomplish that. So, yeah.
I feel like I would black out too if I was like there as well. So you play with a lot of greats in the NFL. And is there a person that you felt like you clicked with right away, or maybe some people that you just meshed with right away?
I would say everybody on my team. I'm a people's person. I'm not hard to like myself, you know, but I pretty much bonded with everybody that I played with. And everybody was great that I met. I can't name one person that I can say I regret playing with, because I feel like we all have reached our dream of making it to the NFL. There's a lot of positive people around, so everyone just seems to like each other, you know, and get along pretty well.
Yeah. Always heard that it's like a strong brotherhood being in an NFL. Is there still some people who reach out and still mentor you to this day?
Not reach out, but we converse back and forth on social media platforms, because everybody pretty much has their own family and their own dreams and goals and things like that. So we respect each other's privacy and space, And we speak whenever the time comes, you know.
That's amazing. All right, so you've played for multiple teams and different leagues.
Yeah.
How was it adjusting to the different environments?
Adjusting to the different environments wasn't too tough because it's still the game of football, you know. The CFL, the field is a lot wider, so that's probably the only thing you have to be a little more in shape because the ball can travel a little further than the NFL field of play, I would say.
Mhm.
So adjusting from college to the NFL to the CFL, I would just say the speed of things and the time and the distance for the ball to travel.
That makes sense. Yeah, NFL is like the elite of the elite, right? So,
Yes.
so as going from because you first were drafted by St. Louis, and
Yes.
then you went to Buffalo.
Yes.
Was there a big jump or difference between switching teams in the NFL? Like a big environment change there?
The change, the only thing that I can say was a little difficult was moving my things from one city to the next. But that's pretty much it. Everything else was just already in place because it's pretty professional and well done.
Nice. And so now you're, doing very well in the CFL as well. So do you think the only difference between the CFL and the NFL would be just the size of the field? Is there like a different environment when you go to the arenas as well?
To me, it feels the same, but I would just say the field, pretty much the field, and a couple rule changes, just different from the NFL, U.S. football. And it's crazy you said the CLF because that's what they call it for real. CLF and CFL football is the American way of saying it. Yeah.
All right. So to get to the level of success you've obtained, there must have been a lot of bumps on the path, whether it's injuries or other situations. In IYF, we want our students to learn the heart to challenge themselves. And when they run into that wall, to gain the strength to break through it in order to reach their goals. Have you ever felt like you hit a wall? And if so, can you take us through those experiences?
Oh man, yes, like I say, the road has not been all green, it has been some muddy waters. The walls that I say I have hit was the injuries, and having doubt sometimes that, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna get back from this injury. This is very serious as far as my knee, my ankle. I even fractured my C6, my neck playing in college, so that was a serious injury. But I never lost faith and hope, but I would doubt sometimes, but I will always revert back to my favorite scripture in the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11. If I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and give you hope in the future, right? So I will always go back to that, and that will motivate me and keep me going, and I will just get back on track,
Yeah, I can see like in college you had a serious injury, but you came back the next year even stronger than before. So to overcome those, so you're saying like to overcome those difficulties, you use the real faith that you had in the Bible to overcome those?
Correct. Knowing that God is the omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient,
Amen. It's a great answer. All right, so there are many things that go into strength. One important thing is overcoming negative thoughts that can happen when you're going through those hard times. For example, when you were injured, I'm sure you had a lot of doubt and negative mindsets that came to you. Some people reach their limits and they're not able to overcome that thought that they cannot do it. That instantly something happens, you think, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to quit and give up.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what is the most destructive thought?
Just being cynical and doubting, that's probably the most destructive thought. And just not believing, that God is in control of everything. And just to see the positive in it, more so than the negative of what's happening right now, just continue to have faith and not doubt.
Gotcha. So for the kids out there who may have these issues or these problems, what would be your advice to overcome these thoughts, to help them out?
Just have good mentors, the right people around you, and just continue to believe and have faith.
Nice. And can you tell us some of the sacrifices you had to endure to get to fulfill your dream?
Some sacrifices I had to endure to fulfill my dream was being around positive people, people that believe, getting out of my own way, transforming my mind, because sometimes, like you said, you doubt sometimes. So sacrificing old thoughts and doubts and being open to positivity and the right structure for sure.
Gotcha. Wow, it's been a very informative interview. And now we have some questions kind of for fun, if it's okay.
Yes.
So you played in the league, played with a lot of great players, played against a lot of great players, right?
Yes.
Who would you list? I'm gonna put you on this hot spot, okay? Who would you list as the top 3 defensive backs of all time?
Myself, one. Nah, let me stop. Okay. I'm gonna say Deion Sanders is my all-time favorite. I met him when I was in high school at the Under Armour game, so he's always been a childhood role model for me too, from a distance. I like Champ Bailey. He was pretty nice, and myself, I like to take their game and just put it into mine. So I feel like I have to like myself in the modest way, in the most humble way, And no disrespect to any other DBs out there, because there's a lot of great DBs out there. And, it's pretty much it.
Oh, no problem. To get to that level of success, you got to have a little confidence in yourself, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So in the league right now, do you still actively watch the NFL?
Yes, correct.
So who is the greatest DB in the league now?
I don't want to make anybody mad, so I would say my top 2 that I love dearly. Stephon Gilmore, I played with him at Buffalo. He was the most humble, professional guy that I ever met at the position. But I met a lot, but that's just one guy that just stuck with me, and I learned a lot from him just being around him without saying many words, So that's one. And Patrick Peterson was a guy from the same area I'm from. I was watching him since I was an adolescent in 9th grade, on Rivals.com. So those are my favorite 2 right now in the league: Patrick Peterson and Stephon Gilmore.
Nice. All right. So now you've matched up against a lot of tough wide receivers in your career.
Yes.
So a lot of times you get excited for the big game, right? Oh, I got this player coming up tomorrow. It's time to, get up for this game. Who was that one receiver that got you the most excited to test your abilities against?
I can't name one, because everybody that has made it to the NFL, they can embarrass you if you're not on your job. So I would like to say, just thinking, I can't think of one, but Larry Fitzgerald, he was a great receiver that I went against just playing in the NFL. So Larry Fitzgerald was somebody that I had to really study and make sure that I was on my stuff, For sure.
All right. So let me ask you this one question too. So the ball's getting handed off and you're trying to set the edge. Who's the one running back you don't want to see coming your way?
Oh. You don't want to ask a DB that question. But one running back that I wouldn't want to see come my way, I can't say that. I can't say that. But those big backs, you would want to try to tackle them in a way where you don't bring too much impact on yourself, but get them down at a I don't know how to say it, but you just want to get them down as if you was wrestling. So, yeah.
It's a fair answer too.
Yeah.
All right. So last, couple more questions is, what are your pregame rituals? Everyone has their little thing they have to do before they get ready for the game. Yeah. What would be your pregame?
I pray before. I see someone said Marshawn Lynch. Actually, can I go back to that question, please?
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch was definitely one of the backs that you don't want to see his head up, because he will embarrass you. But I was blessed enough to tackle him one time when he wasn't looking, and it was a big hit. So I felt pretty good, and that boosted my confidence. But back to your question with the pregame ritual, I would say the day before the game and of the game, you know, I will always just pray, meditate, and I would make sure that I study my plays the day before and of the game, so that I know what's gonna come from the other team, and just continue to stay locked in. And before the game, like in the locker room, I would just listen to music, whatever my choice or feeling at that time. It's different music, different hip hop. You'll have some gospel sometimes, and you'll have just pure silence sometimes for myself. And
Gotcha.
I'll just be ready from that point on.
Is there like superstition? You know, you got to eat the same meal every day and the same socks every day, any of these type of things?
Nah, but you have some things that you stick to, as far as just like you say, your socks. Yeah, for sure, your socks, for sure.
All right, so the final question, for all the students who want to pursue football as their career, you know, any future Marcuses out there, what advice or tips do you have for them?
For anybody that want to pursue football in their career, just make sure that that's what you want to do, so you don't have to, you know, because whatever you do, you want to go with all your heart. And football has had my heart from the beginning, so I would say be all in first and foremost. Secondly, make sure that you're taking care of your body, eating properly, and have the right people around you that's doing the same thing, because iron sharpens iron, you know. So you want to continue to craft, and that's pretty much it.
Great advice, I think. If it's okay with you, Marcus, we'd like to open up a little bit of Q&A. I think a lot of the students may have some questions for you.
Yes.
So we'll try to take some questions.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have a question, just go ahead and unmute. So Eddie from Boston, can you go ahead and unmute? Okay, we'll come back to Eddie. Gian from New York.
Hello, can you hear
You can
me?
unmute.
Okay, yeah. So,
Hey,
of all the like wide receivers that you played in the NFL, who do you think was like the hardest to cover? Like gave you the most difficulty?
Okay, the hardest receiver that I would say I covered in the NFL. That's a tough question, because everybody is good and everybody have their attributes that they're good at, you know. So it's not about who the hardest. It was more so about who's the most swiftest. So you will have to adjust to the certain receiver that you're gonna play that with. So there's no the most hardest receiver to cover. I would say the ones that you have to study the most is the ones that's the most craftiest, like the Odell Beckhams, Julio Jones, and those type of guys. If you get what I'm saying. So yeah, I can't just name one. Everybody's pretty good as far as players on your team, the practice squad guys, and the guys that you're facing up. So I can't just name one, man.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of great receivers in the league. Julio Jones. But is there Shanice has a question as well? Shanice?
Hey, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I wanted to ask, like, how do you balance your spiritual life with your career? And was there ever a time when your career was basically at the forefront
I'm sorry to
from your
cut you off.
spiritual life?
I can barely hear.
You cannot hear me?
All right, I can hear you better now.
Oh, so I was asking, like, how do you balance your spiritual life and your career? And was there ever a time where your career was like overlapping with your spiritual life?
I just put my faith in God more than anything, because I know that I can only reach a limit, and just believing in the Most High would just surpass any of my feelings or thoughts. I always believe. So football has never altered my belief, if that makes sense. So it will always coexist and balance each other out, if that makes sense to you. Yeah, because like I say, I understand that God gave me this gift. I didn't have to really work too hard for it, but I had to maintain it by crafting and just maximizing my gift that was from God. So it never really altered my belief in spirituality, you know?
Okay, thank you.
All right, so Eddie's mic's having a little issue. So the question he had for you was, how tough is it to play in the NFL?
Yeah. It's very tough. You got to stay strong. You have to make sure your mind is right as far as studying, and it's a real job, and it's time consuming. So you have to be all in. And you have to know how to balance your life out just to play in the NFL. It's not just easy, you know.
Right. So I have a question. So like for this pandemic that's happening right now, how is your life adjusted through this time, this situation now?
During this pandemic, my life has adjusted in many ways. As far as I can't just go to a facility and train with a lot of guys, so I would have to make sure that I'm getting my extra work in as far as the core, as far as my core work inside the house, my band work, going to the track by myself sometimes when the facilities are not open. So yeah, that's the way that I have had to adjust in this time right now. It's making sure I stay on and maintain my body on my own.
Yeah, I hear you on that. So we have one more question from Adam Lopez. Adam Lopez.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you.
I just wanted to kind of ask about, when you're preparing and, for how do you kind of prepare? How many hours a day? Are you waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning? Are you eating 4 or 5 meals a day? Kind of when you lay out your week for training to get in shape, professionally, what does that look like? How do you stop yourself from overexerting yourself?
Yeah.
Kind of like, how can we, as not professional athletes, but as, people who want to be efficient, like kind of get the mindset that you have to be at that level? What do you do?
I like the question. I like when you said like the exerting energy. So basically, you have to get the proper rest, just like any job in your day-to-day life. So I would say get the proper rest, eat properly. You can't just be eating fast food all day. You can have your cheat day, but you have to know how to have that that moderation with it. So yeah, pretty much sleep, eat properly, drink a lot of water, and that's 50% of the battle right there is for your preparation for myself. And that has helped me a lot. And when the time comes to perform, I think the other 50% is how much you study and just reacting and responding at that moment.
So what was like, behind the scenes, like after you play the game, a lot of people don't know what goes into the actual recovery period. What's that like for you? Like after a hard game, you just don't get in the car and drive home, you know what I mean? It takes a lot of time to recover and recruit because you got like practice in like 2 days. So tell me what the recovery is like for you.
The recovery after a big game or any game or practice is always replenish yourself with water. I like coconut water because it tastes good and it revitalizes you pretty well. So I drink a lot of water. I make sure I get my massages, and I make sure I get in the ice tub if I'm feeling too sore.
Sounds painful but helpful.
So it's very helpful.
All right, we have a question from Susie.
My question was, if you had to write your autobiography, what's one story from your experiences that you believe would have the most impact on the lives of others, like people who read your story? Like, what's that story that you think would, from hearing about that story, it would like change lives or inspire others?
I can't say right now, because I'm still pursuing my dream and living my dream as far as playing football. That's all I really love to do more than anything, sad to say. So just to continue to strive and always craft and never give up on living your dream, and that's your day-to-day life. And just know that when adversity comes, just continue to keep faith.
So, is there like a person you would say growing up, maybe like a book or autobiography you read that was like inspiring to you growing up?
Book or autobiography that I read that inspired me growing up. Oh man, I can't think of one at the moment, but there's a lot of I read a lot of football books, and I watch a lot of stories. So I would say watching Floyd Mayweather, because that's my favorite athlete. I like Floyd Mayweather because you can tell that he works hard and that he takes care of his body, and he really loves what he do. So that motivates me right there. So
Nice. Yeah, he's a good person to look up to, you know.
one of the
One
best.
of the successful boxers there's ever been.
Yeah.
Hey, so another question came in. It's asking, are you planning on going back to the NFL?
Do I plan on going back to the NFL? I don't have my mind set on it. I'm just going with the flow right now. I'm just playing football till I can't play anymore, and whatever happens, happens. You know.
Just take it one day at a time. So,
Correct.
we have any more questions before we wrap up with Marcus? Okay, there's the question. What has been your most challenging experience so far?
My most challenging experience so far in life or playing football? Well, football is life to me. So basically, I would say my most challenging experience is playing football, and in life is just being injured from time to time, and that's just overcoming those injuries because you have to be meticulous about everything that you're doing. So you have to really tune in and make sure that you're hitting the small muscles that triggers the big muscles that can help you recover fast. Not fast, but at the proper time to get back. So it has been challenging from time to time, but lucky enough, I'm healthy at this time. So I think it made me play a little smarter and be better and more craftier, shall I say.
All right, and there's a question. How do you face your nerves?
Pardon me?
How do you face your nerves before a game?
We have these things. That's one way, just taking a deep breath. And then we have these things that just pump you up. It's like these little nose strip things, and it's like, I don't know exactly what it is, but it just pumps you up like I think boxers or UFC fighters, a lot of athletes and stuff not take them, but just like, I can't explain it. It's like a nasal strip or something like that. And you just you put it to your nose, and it just give you this like, just let's go feeling. So that's one way I calm my nerves.
All right, just a couple more questions.
Yeah.
They want to know, what's your favorite team?
I like every team.
Every team.
Yeah.
Very political answer.
For sure.
All right, and Eddie from Boston really wants to know, have you ever played against Tom Brady? You know, he's kind of a legend up there, so.
I haven't played against him. I have. When I was at Houston in 2017, we played against Tom Brady in a preseason game. And in practice, I was going against him. And I wanted to pick Tom Brady out so bad. He was so smart. I would be on the guy so good. He would throw the ball over for incomplete. He'd rather throw an incomplete pass before he throw an interception. Tom Brady is one of the best.
All right, so I got to put you on the spot again.
Yes.
Peyton Manning or Tom Brady?
I can't answer that question. Those two guys are great quarterbacks.
So would you be able to like tell your kids about it one day? Like, yo, I played against this guy. Who would be that one person in a league that you would brag to your kids about later? That I played against this guy.
One guy that I brag to my kids about later that I played against would be. I can't say right now. That's a hard question because it's a lot of great players out there.
A lot of great players, yeah.
But I can say one guy that I can say I played with right now is Stephon Gilmore because he's man, like I say, he's probably one of the best dudes that I've been around, the most humblest person that I've ever been around just playing the game for sure. He's one of the best. And I see why he's 99 overall, and I see why he has had that notable experiences being in the NFL right now because he's a professional, truly.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely deserves all the praise and accolades he's getting right now.
For sure.
So the last question we'll ask is from David. How do you keep your focus and passion for playing over and over again?
How do I keep my focus?
And the passion to keep playing every day.
Okay, yeah. It's in me, you know. Like I always go back to it. I feel this is my gift from God, and it's in me, and I can't get away from the game even if I wanted to. I will always just go back and watch film and stuff on either myself or other great DBs or just other receivers and stuff, just studying the game. So I just love the game. So how I really keep the passion is just always being around it all the time, making sure I feel myself in every way I can, as far as on film or just going to the field and watching the game.
I know what you mean. Can't get away from football, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So is there anything in closing you want to say to the students attending this camp?
No, but I'm always open to answering any questions. You guys can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. My Instagram and Twitter is both the same. I just changed the name. It's International Mark. International, the word, and M-A-R-C. And if you have any questions or anything, I'm always open. I respond to DMs. And yeah, I love to talk. International Mark, yes.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. And again, Marcus, we want to thank you again so much for doing this. I'm sure the students were able to gain so much from listening to you. And I'm sure they're filled with hope listening to your story about how you were able to achieve your dreams. So we can see that your dreams are definitely not deferred. We are so thankful to have you as a part of this IYF family. And I'm sure you've made a lot more fans today. So we look forward to seeing you again and talking to you again and even seeing you in action on the field someday. Hopefully soon, you know, sooner than later.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. And everyone, please give another big hand for Marcus Roberson.
Thank you, guys.